right, good evening, everyone on the OPA organization. It's so wonderful to see you all from my home to yours, from my office to your office. Today we live in, I think the last time I hosted an OPA call, we lived in Brooklyn, and now we are very blessed to live in Rockland County. For those of you who know New York State, we're about 40 minutes north of the city, and it's beautiful up here. We live on a half-acre property with a nice big home, and I'm so glad to live here, thank God. And I'm so glad that our business is mobile enough that we didn't lose any business from when we left Brooklyn to come up and live here. So when I was thinking, when Rob asked me to replace the conference, I mean, we're replacing the conference. We should have been at conference, right? And so instead of being at conference, we're doing this Zoom call all over the United States. I was thinking, what should we talk about? Should we do inspiration? Should we do skill building? Should we bring on a speaker who's going to talk to us about what program works for them? I said, no, we're not going to do that. We have in our organization, we have more than 3 masters, but the three of us were able to be on here. We have 3 strong masters in one lineage who have wonderful stories. And in our stories, we have, and we all have that, you, I, we all have that, is there are tremendous learning points, tremendous teachable moments in our stories. And I figured the best way of teaching is through story and to point out those teachable moments. So I asked Goldie and I asked Shifra if they would be willing to, let's just talk and let's with our stories, teach and inspire and give you some homework. And so I just figured let's do that. And so what I want to do is my upline is Goldie Waldman. I'm the sandwich generation. Anyone knows what a sandwich generation is? I'm the sandwich generation. I got Goldie here, who's my upline, and Shifra, who's my downline. So I'm lucky on both ends. Being the cream of the sandwich cookie, I'm good. So let's start with Goldie. Hence, Goldie introduced me to Shackley, though I went to her, and she'll tell you, or maybe she won't, maybe I'll tell you my story. But let just Goldie share her part of this talk tonight. So Goldie, you want to unmute yourself?
Got it.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so let me start with my humble beginnings. I started, actually, I'll look at the date, July 7th, 78 was the lucky day that I signed into Shackley. That sounds like many, many moons ago, which it is actually. At that time, I had 3 little children. My baby was a year old. I actually had 3 little boys. And I didn't even, the name Shackley wasn't on the radar yet, actually, not in the East Coast at least. And I had a neighbor who, her sister was in Shackley, and she did some kind of a beauty thing in the country, actually. And I said, okay, you know, I had, in fact, that was a year before I signed in. I had a little baby, and I said, yeah, I feel so weak and I need vitamins, and I could afford to look a little better, you know how it is. So she did my face with the Shackley stuff, and she gave me some vitamins, and I don't know, I just had energy, and I really started feeling better. And first I thought it can't be true. Yeah, vitamins are just a fad, it'll pass. But then, so I actually stopped taking the vitamins. I really stopped, just to prove it to myself. And I started feeling like, you know, after a baby and weak and all that. And then I started again. And then this neighbor's sister came to her house where I lived in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. And she did a Shackley party. Then that's the way they introduced the stuff at that time. That was pre-computer, pre-internet, pre-3-way calling. I mean, it sounds like I was born before the war, but anyway, bottom line is that I actually liked the stuff. And the more things she gave, I used to have a lot of rashes, and I used the cleaning products. That's what after the vitamins and after the beauty products. And I really said, you know, this stuff is good. And she said, you know what? Do a party in your house and I'll speak for you. And I actually worked very hard to get, I got 20, I'll never forget it, on that tiny top floor, I got 21 people. And, you know, they bought all kinds of stuff. I'll never forget one person bought vitamin C. She said that she knows she needs vitamin C, but she seems to get diarrhea. She breaks out. Nothing agrees with her. I said, look, this stuff is guaranteed. Try it. And so she did, and she had very good results. And like Sarah is going to start with her Nature Bright story, this is a vitamin C story that got me into it. So she said, you know, how can I get this stuff cheaper? So I said, you know what? Make a party in your house. I'll go over, I'll speak, and then you'll bring in people. We'll see. You know, you'll become a distributor, you'll get 15% off. And believe me, when I went to her house, my heart was pounding. So I think everybody in the room heard. I really didn't even know exactly what I'm talking about. But I read up a little on the catalog. Don't forget, we had very little information. And my upline lived in California. She came once a year to do a meeting. That was the extent of you know, of all the education that I got from her. But I spoke from my heart, and I spoke only what I know about, what I was comfortable with, and it resonated because there was a woman in that in the Bedford Gardens. That's like a project with many people, and she said, you know, I have 10 sisters who are so health-minded. Come up to me next week. I was in her house doing a party. It may be the vitamins. I don't know what got me going, but I was on skates. I was on wheels. I was doing parties. And I really think about it. You know, I really had 3 little kids, but I was so motivated. I was so excited. The next week, I found myself in Muncie, where Sarah lives. That's an hour away. And also talking up from 2 sides of my mouth, because I really didn't know I mean, wasn't that educated at that time. But I had a lot of passion, and I believed in the products, and I really did. And that's the way the year passed, and by November 1st of 79, that's 1.5 years later, my upline told me, you know, Goldie, you're doing 3,000. That was the minimum for becoming a director. You have to break off from me. You have to start your own business. I said, what? Me, business? I have 3 little wild boys. I live on a top floor. This is not for me. I'm not a businesswoman. I want to take care of my kids. She says, Goldie, this is a home business. Don't worry. I'll guide you. I'll help you. Somehow, she talked me into it, and I signed up as a director. And then between November 1st, 79 and November of 88, I had another 5 children. So you can imagine that I was a very busy mother. And for those who don't know our culture, we basically cook everything from scratch. We sometimes go out to eat, but that's not our lifestyle. We really cook from scratch. And at that time, I was a little educated health-wise, so I steamed my broccoli, and I worked very hard to, you know, to keep my kids healthy, and I even put the protein into their baby bottles. I was really Shakleizing the whole house. But this I'm telling to all the people who are growing now, that sometimes you have some kind of a hiatus. You know what that means? That means that you get bogged up with the daily life, but the checks kept coming in. That's the good part about Shaklee. I was a stay-at-home mom, cooked my meals, hopefully took care of my kids as best as I could. And still, it took me a while. I sponsored, and I made sure the people sponsor. I tried to do the business as best as I could. And I developed 4 downlines. And then I sort of, it's like going on a diet and you're on a plateau. It plateaued, you know. I stayed with those 4 directors. And as I was a busy mom, I didn't really have the aspirations to grow. And this happens to everybody. Then, fast forward, Roger Barnett, bless his soul, came around. And as my clientele, my directors, my downlines, my members, my distributors, were basically stay-at-home moms, most of them. And I was going to all the, all kinds of, all the things that Shackley offered to us. I mean, all the trips. I went to Dallas, Texas, Tennessee, California a couple of times, Florida, even to England. We even had remember Sarah? We had a wonderful, wonderful time in England together. And, but for them to leave their children with babysitters, talking about nursing moms, moms with little kids, it was like going to the moon. I couldn't get them to do that. Few of them did, but I'm talking about the general public. But Roger understood us. And he brought, and thanks to Sarah, she was very instrumental in getting that done. We had a convention, sort of a mini convention in the Brooklyn Marriott. I mean, let me tell you, this was like everyone got a handbag, a suitcase, and we had flowers on the table. We had a 5-course meal, and we had the best speakers, and we knew that this is going to be the event of the decade, so to speak. So I worked very, very hard. I put in a lot of effort to call and invite and plead. I even did some kind of incentives that whoever comes gets some kind of a bonus or whatever. And what I did was, and thank God for that, I got the second generation Shackley to come, meaning that my distributors' children who were married, I talked them into coming, and 2 of them were very, very inspired. And don't forget, I needed another 2 directors to become master coordinator. Now, this was a very hard time in my life because my parents started, having physical, like they were elderly, especially my mother was very sick. So why I'm telling you this is that everyone has challenges. First, it was hard when I had the little kids to do all those parties. Now it was hard to leave and to focus because I had sick parents and we're 6 siblings, and my sister and me are the only ones living in the area. I have a brother in Israel, I have all over the place, and I live on the same block as my parents. So it was Goldie coming, Goldie going all the time. And yet I had 2 young ladies in their low 20s, very interested in Shackley. And I said to myself, Goldie, this is your chance. It's now or never. The incentive was that if by March 31st, which was about 5 months away from November 8th of 2005, March 31st of 2006, if you make it to the next level, by me it was master coordinator, I would get a trip abroad for me and my husband. Now I had a son learning in Israel as a student, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and it was a very beautiful holiday that they celebrate very happily in Israel. And he said, he begged us to let him stay there. And I said, let's celebrate together. I'm going to work on this. Now, people who are familiar with our area understand one of these young ladies lived in Muncie and one in Monroe. That's 1 hour from my house and 1.5 hours from my house. Now, I don't drive. I took the bus. I don't even know, this was my second wave, as Sarah calls it. I can't believe that I did it, but I did. And if I could do it, anybody could do it. Every week I had a goal, 1 week Monroe, 1 week Muncie. And don't forget, it was from November 8th to March 31st. So we're going through the winter. Winters in New York are sometimes brutal. It was snow and hail and whatever ice, nothing kept me back. I kept on that regimen. 1 week Muncie, 1 week Monroe, no matter what. I traveled, and it's traveling by bus, schlepping things, and I had to prepare for these meetings. And don't forget, the meetings had a goal to make these people into directors. So I had to be diplomatic, I had to be knowledgeable, but somehow with God's help, it worked. By March 31st, I was master coordinator. And I did go to Israel. I did enjoy my son and all this, everything I celebrated in style. And it was really wonderful. So then I became master coordinator. But don't think I'm in the interim, with 8 kids in the house, to get 4 directors. And I moved in between, and we had Shackley cars. We had highs and lows, but you know what? There's always a second chance. Even if the people who feel that, I worked so hard, I'm not getting anywhere, but Shackley has so much to offer. I am so grateful. My children, they're all married by now, thank God, and they raise beautiful families. And they all tell me, Ma, I don't remember the pink bottles on the side of the Frigidaire. That means the antibiotics. I mean, 6 of my children are boys, so, I can't really tell a daughter-in-law exactly what to do. My daughters, I do teach and try, but my sons always tell me, I don't remember ever all these antibiotics. We went to the doctor for shots. We hardly saw a doctor for all these childhood, illnesses like the strep and the earaches. And it was, for me, I would say, after all the hardships back and forth, it was a real success story because the checks always kept on coming in. I got such an education, and I have to keep educating myself. I can't grow old with this business. I have to be on the forefront of nutrition. I have to see what's going on. I can't just lay back, which is wonderful. So Shackley is good in every age and stage. And besides the perks, I had a couple of Shackley cars. I had all these beautiful trips. It was wonderful. And that was, when I had these little kids, and it was so good to get away for a while. I came back so energized. And physically, mentally, emotionally, Shackley is wonderful for everybody. And I urge you, we have great, you have great upline, Shifra, Sarah, and everybody else who's here. We have so much support from the company. Everything is online. We can go digital, so go for it. Thank you very much, Sarah, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Gold. We have one very major thing in common. You have 6 boys, and so do I. And the difference is you have 2 girls. I only have 1. Anyway, thank you, Goldie. I love to hear your story again. I never get tired of it. And you know what? We've been together now for 32 years.
Yeah.
And we started Shackley in August of 1988. And the reason I got started in Shackley was because I was getting ready to do my children's laundry one day, and I noticed that the mold stains developed on their clothing. And as a young mother, when you have 2 little children, you become frantic with such a problem. Today I wouldn't care, I would just throw it away. But in that point in time, I was devastated. And so I went to ShopRite and I bought every detergent on the market, and the stains didn't budge. So I shared my dilemma with a relative, and she gave me 2 products from Shackley, Nature Bright and Basic Eye. She didn't give me really good instructions because she was not a Shackley distributor. She just wanted to help me. I used the products and the stains came out. And I used so much of it. Could you imagine? Remember the box of Nature Bright? I see Alan Sharapan on. He must remember the Nature Bright box, not the bags, right? I see you shaking your head. I used up a half a box for a small stain, all right? I was lucky that the clothing stayed intact. Anyway, so I asked my relative where I can buy it, and she told me I can go to Goldie Waldman. We were in the mountains together, and I went to Goldie Waldman, and I said, Goldie, are you the only person who can sell these products? Could you imagine how she felt? Imagine if somebody comes over to you and asks, you're the only one who can sell this? And then she said, no, you can too. I thought right away, if this product worked for me so well, it would work for my friends. They were having children. It would work for my mother. She still had young children. I'm the oldest of 9, and most of the kids were still single. I was thinking about the whole world can use such products. Why not? So why shouldn't I be the one selling it to them? I always had very entrepreneurial blood. Anyway, so she told me I can sell it, and she started telling me about the sales plan. I didn't understand anything. It didn't make sense to me to buy something at membership price and charge membership price and make money. For me, a business meant buying wholesale and selling retail. I just didn't understand the concept. I don't think at that point I was really ready to build a big Shackley organization anyway. I was working outside of my home. I was a bookkeeper by trade. I loved my job. I loved numbers, and I loved seeing numbers balancing. And so that was me. And I started sharing Shackley with people, and I was selling Shackley, and people were buying from me. My husband said one very important thing to me at that point. He said, if you will say something to a person and that other person didn't know about that, they will think you are the know-it-all person, and they will gravitate to you, and they will call you and ask you for ideas. That stuck with me. So I was, floating along my Shackley business for a couple of years. And in between, I had another little boy. And then my husband started going to school. My husband is the first, what we call Yiddish speaking therapist in our community. He started going to school, and I was working for a real estate firm at that point. And he says, you know what? Maybe you stop working for that firm and do your Shackley business if you choose to. And what did he want from me? He was writing his paper and I was typing his papers. Who remembers typewriters? Well, I wasn't using a typewriter. I was, I was using a word processor. And so once computers came out, he didn't need me anymore. That's when my business started growing. But anyway, so at that point in time, all I wanted to do was to replace a $500 a month income. That's it. And I did that very quickly. I was focused and I did it quickly. And I stayed there for about another 2 or 3 years. We became directors in 94. And bottom line is, I joined Shackley in 88 and we became directors in 94. And the word is timing. The timing was right for me then. And what I noticed in 94, once we became directors and our business really took off, 9 months later, I think it was that Schiffer became a director. When we went to the new supervisors conference, we went as new senior supervisors of a new senior supervisor. So, and what I realized at that point was, what did it take to build this business? It's the same work over and over and over again. You just need to change the people. I was out doing events 3 to 4 times a week. And talk about having a young family. I had a young family. I did have wonderful sisters who would come and babysit for me. I did have a very supportive husband because he saw the future in this. I worked hard. 3 to 4 times a week, I was out of my house doing presentations. Once a month, I had all my builders come to my house and we grew together. I was on the phone constantly while I was taking care of my kids. For those couple of hours that they were away during the day, maybe 4 or 5 hours, I took care of my business. At night, they went to sleep early, I took care of my business. And one of the things that, one of the key reasons of why I never left this, even in the hard times, was because we wanted a Shackley car. We were a young family and we couldn't afford a car. So for me, having a car was a huge, huge thing. And so I remember I was always talking about that car. And we lived in one house with my grandparents. And every time I told my grandfather about the car, he would say, well, you're going to get a toy car. I said, no, it's going to be a real car. You're going to see it's going to be a real car. So when we picked up our car, my grandparents were standing in front of the house and my grandmother was crying. She could not believe that we drove up in a real car. And my grandfather sat into the car and we went around the block a couple of times and said, Zaidi, this is our car. We never lost sight of that. Then to fast forward my story, we grew. A lot of people came into the organization and we had to learn a lot of things. And one of the key things we needed to learn was how to deal with people. Because when you start dealing with a lot of people, you have to know how to deal with a lot of people. Why? Because everybody's going to think differently, say different things, ask different questions. And so building people skills is a very, very important thing. And I made a lot of mistakes and I learned a lot. But at the end of the day, I kept on trucking along. One day, Goldie came home from Vancouver. She had a conference in Vancouver, and she was so excited. She ran into my bungalow. We were again in the mountains. A lot of good things happen in the mountains, Goldie, remember? And so she comes running to my bungalow, and she tells me Shackley's coming out with I don't know, echinacea. I don't know how it's called. So they introduced the first four herbal products, and it was very, very exciting. And of course, Goldie was, talking to company about kosher, and we spoke to Rabbi Heber, and they decided, okay, yeah, we can make these kosher. One day, I get a letter. It was on the Sabbath, and I couldn't open the letter until the Sabbath was over. And it was a letter from Star K saying that we regret to inform you, but these four herbal products will not be kosher. And I was devastated. And I was thinking, who could I call? Who could I call? Who could I call? And decided, wait, there's a lady in Las Vegas or Nevada. No, she was in Nevada, Reno. I said, I'm going to call that lady. Her name is Mary Loomis. And I was very nervous because I knew she was a very rich lady, and I was very scared of rich people. Anybody ever had that? Honestly, I had one of my first customers was a lady with a fur coat. I didn't know that she had a fur coat. When she called me about Shackley, I said to her that I was, she said, I heard Nature Bride takes out stains. I said, yeah. And I told her the benefits of Nature Bride. And she said to me, it can be. She was like so aggressive. And I said, you know what? Look, if it doesn't work for you, you'll return it. But I was terrified from her. I didn't know why. And then she came to pick up the Nature Bride, and I saw she was wearing a fur coat. I said, I knew it. She is rich. The rich people aren't nice. Anyway, I hope I'm nice because it's not true anymore. Anyway, bottom line is, I said, I was scared to call Mary Loomis because I knew she was rich, and I knew that she lived once in Beverly Hills, and I was very scared. And I called her, despite the fact I wanted those products to become kosher, and I was frustrated and I was upset, and I called her. And she picked up the phone, and I told her who I was, and I told her what my problem was, and she listened. She gave me an idea, and I was ready to hang up the phone, and she said, oh, 1 minute, can I ask you a couple of questions? I said, yeah. She goes, are you married? Yeah. You have children? Yeah. How many? Yeah. How old are they? Yeah. This rich lady's interested in me. Could you believe it? This rich lady's interested in me. To me, the story's like this. There is a time we're going to become, if we choose to become master coordinators, we're going to become master coordinators. We choose to become, I don't know, whatever we want to become in this business, we become in this business. But we always have to remember about our humble beginnings. And that's what Mary was. She was a rich lady. She had a lot of money, and she did very good things. And she was always able to come from there. We looked up at her like this, and she was able to bring herself down and understand and talk to people. That was a tremendous, tremendous lesson that I learned from Mary Loomis, and I hope to always follow in those footsteps. Fast forward a whole bunch of years, I had a wonderful relationship with Mary, and we should all have such relationships with our downlines. Mary told me 1 month, this was in 2004, she says, Sarah, it's time for you to become a master coordinator. There's a new guy that's buying this business. I can't tell you much yet, but I want you to be his first master. She built a vision for me. She casted a vision for me. She knew it was possible. She knew that I laxed a little bit. She knew, she saw things in myself that I didn't see in myself. She saw that. We need to see, we need to show people, we need to believe in people. If we believe in people, they believe in themselves. If we come out and cast a vision for them, they can grab onto that a vision and go forward with it. It is so important. It was just so unbelievable. And you know what? Mary told me at that point, she says, Sarah, this will probably be the last conference in my life that I will ever attend. I don't know what she knew. And that was her last conference. And I knew that I had to do it for myself because Mary thought that I should, but I also knew I had to do it for her. And so I try to do the same thing. So what happens is we get a new distributor recently. I have a new customer. She came to me 2 years ago. And she just became a customer. All she wanted was Vitally and B Complex. And I sent her a newsletter. And in the newsletter, we talked about youth. And she said to me, she sends me an email and she says, I want to buy youth, but it's very expensive. What can I do? I said, well, there's a few things you can do. Number one is, remember, you're buying at a membership price, you're getting a discount. Number two is you can host an event and you can earn yours for free, or you can join the business and you can, you'll pay your products with it. And she said, I want to join the business. Let me learn more. So we spoke. One of the trainings, and she did 250 PV, 300 PV, just the basics, very little. She's a full-time, she works for her father. She has a baby. At that point now she has 2 babies. And she tells me, her name is Miriam, and she tells me, so she started the business. She got a couple of bonus checks, nothing major. One of the things that I kept on telling her, I said, you'll make this. You have it. You have everything that it takes. And I told her why. I said, here's what's going to happen. One day, you will find yourself in this business. We have to let people find themselves in this business. Shackley has over 300 products. It's very overwhelming. And sometimes the nutrition part can be very exciting to one new person, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. Sometimes youth is interesting, and sometimes youth is scary. Whatever it is, we have to allow people to find themselves. And that's what happened to me. I found myself with skincare. And I did a lot of skincare presentations. Those skincare led to nutrition, and it led to money, and it led to business. But that's where I found myself. So what happens, this is a couple of months ago, the month of COVID. I'm sick. I have COVID-19 in March. My son got married. I was so sick at his wedding. I can't even tell you. And this young lady is doing 1,000 PV. Now, I think everyone's PV checks went up in March. But I was looking at her bonus and I said, look, her PV is 1,000 PV. I didn't even talk to her once that month. And so then in April, we had it was after Passover, so it was probably the end of April. I said, Miriam, what's going on? She says, I decided, I found myself in this business. I found what works for me. I realized I had to wait to find what works for me. She says, you know what I'm doing? I'm calling everyone and I'm giving myself an incentive. 50 phone calls a month and I reward myself. Little rewards, nothing major. She's going to get herself a camera, or she's going to get herself she's going to have professional photography for her kids. She incentivized herself. And she made the phone calls. She realized what will work for her. So now last month, Miriam did, well, we're now in August. In July, she did 1,500. So what we need to do, and Shifra will tell you, Shifra's going to tell you her story, and Shifra has another amazing story. She's going to share with you a story with one of her distributors who was also found herself. But we need to give them direction. We need to give them to understand how they're going to find themselves, why they can find themselves, where they're going to find themselves. And then what happens is that the results, when they discover what works for them, when they discover their position in Shackley, then they start to shine. And then everything is good. And then you have another team member who's glued to you, another team member who just becomes part of this beautiful organization. And then we can look, I'm in this business 32 years. I feel like sometimes like an old horse already, but to see the young ones, they're the link to the next generation from us, to see them shine and grow and to give them a chance, because these young people today don't have it easy. They have it much harder than we had it. Even though we worked physically harder, they have it harder than we did. To see them shine is just such a beautiful thing of this business. And so now, before I want to give it over to Shifra, and then we're going to do some thinking and see how we can go in our businesses from here. So Shifra, you can unmute yourself.
Wow. I need to follow Goldie and Sarah. What a great job. Thank you to both of you to introducing me to this amazing company. I'm grateful every time I get a chance to talk. I have gratitude to God for this special gift of Shackley for myself, my family, and for the whole team, and for everybody that benefits from these products and this amazing opportunity. So thank you, Sarah. And I'm just going to share my screen for a moment so I can talk my story fast. 1 second. Okay, let's see how we do this. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Where did it go? It was just here. Okay. Okay, so this is my story. My first little boy was born. His name is Martha. Martha was born 9 pounds at birth. He was a big, adorable, cute baby. As most of you heard, or if you're new and you didn't, Sarah's my sister-in-law. I married Sarah's brother. And I was doing everything a mother does to take care of their baby. And at 4 weeks, I went to the doctor to weigh the baby and see how he was doing. And unfortunately, I was failing. He weighed 8 pounds, and the doctor said, "We have a problem. This baby was born 9 pounds, and he weighs 8 now. Something is wrong." And he says, "I give you a few days, come back here and figure out. I suggest you should put him on formula because you're not sustaining, you're not giving enough nutrition to this baby." So devastated, crying, I come home from the doctor's office with baby in hand. You know what? I didn't even realize how skinny and scrawny he became until the doctor, made me aware of it. Inexperienced mom calls her sister-in-law that has 3 little boys. Maybe she's going to give me some insight. Sarah, here's my story. I believe she was jumping up and down in her kitchen and saying, "Hey, this is a Shackley opportunity." So she says, "Shifra, if you want, I can give you the Shackley supplements. I believe it's going to help you. You have nothing to lose before you give up your nursing and put the baby onto formula." And I was pretty desperate, so I said, okay. So she sent over the bag with her husband. It was about a 35 to 40-minute drive. And I started to consume the stuff. The shake was disgusting. And I didn't really take vitamins before, but I followed the instructions to the T. Went back a week later to the doctor, and yippee, success. Matcha weighs 9 pounds. He's back to his birth weight. Doctor, not interested what I did, but is happy baby's doing well. Oh, okay, maybe it was just a mistake. Check in again, baby's gaining weight, and things are just wonderful. What amazed me the most was that I started to have benefits. I had more energy. The constipation went away. My immune system improved. I was just feeling better. It was unbelievable. And I kept on saying, wow, these products really work. It's amazing. And I love what Goldie said. And I know that, a lot of people talk about this, but passion and belief. This is what drove me. Passion and belief. And Goldie said it well. She didn't even know what she was doing, but she believed in the products because she had a good experience and she was passionate. I didn't have a strategy exactly what I was going to do. I knew that these products worked. And when someone said something or an opportunity arose, I said, call Sarah Stauber. She can help you. And Sarah asked me, do you want to do a business? And I said, no, I'll just send you the people. So after a while, and I was sending her customers, Sarah called me over and said, Shifra, all these people that bought from me because you referred them could become your customers. I said, what? What does that mean? If you sign up as a distributor, these people could be your customers. And what did I say? That's it takes. So sometimes when we talk about a business, it's complicated. It sounds complicated. It sounds overwhelming. But once you can get in front of people's people and you light the fire, then it just looks so simple. So that was how we started the business. I became a director 3 years later when my first customer, Leah Herzl, that had her story, she was my first distributor. And when she started the business, I became a director. And I went together with Sarah to the new supervisors conference. Why is that important? Because we were both senior directors at the new supervisors conference. So we were already in the second rank because I promoted Leah. And we, in this picture here, we went to 555 Marketplace in San Francisco where Shackley had their main office. And there was a special spot where you took a picture for master pinning, where they pinned the masters. And both Sarah and myself, me with my husband and she with her husband, took a picture in that place and came home with it. And this is a vision. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but we together decided that we have the capability to do it, and we were brave enough to commit to take this picture. Okay, the beauty of helping people believe in their dreams and goals is what we do, and this is what it's all about. We qualified for bonus cars. We traveled. Shackley gave me the flexibility to stay home with my kids, earn money with dignity. I love that. Helping people. I'm so passionate about making a difference. Teaching and empowering other women. This is my favorite piece. I love to do that. And that's how you create an organization and build to master coordinator. And these are my blessed 8 kids when they were still single. Now half of them are married, thank God. But this is how I built my business, together with my family. Okay, and there's one story that I would like to share that is very significant to me. And the picture is right here on the bottom, after the green. And if you can see it, there's a bunch of posters hanging on the street. And you can see me standing in the corner. There are certain activities and certain things that you did in your lifetime in Shackley. They're always going to stay and say, this was a turning point in my business. I was a senior director and I was struggling to do my 3,000. I wasn't coming easy to me, okay? And I was helping my downline at the same time. So I was looking for a way to grow my PV and find new distributors. And I came up with this grand plan that the marathons, I moved to a new home in June, and in the first November, when I lived in this home, it's on Bedford Avenue, and the marathons run through Bedford, through New York City, all 5 boroughs. So it was right in front of my house. And I lived in a place where I didn't have too many neighbors, so I didn't know, I wasn't embarrassed if anybody would see me. So most was commercial. So I made a decision wow, Shackley was promoting athletes and sports nutrition. And I made all these posters and I hung it up all over on the street. I put a table. You can see my table. I covered it nicely, decorated it, made performance drinks, and really nice presentation. I worked hard on this. Those were cardboards. I pasted it together with tape. It was an experience. Happens to be that day in November was freezing. I had 2 kids that were away and my 2 babies in the double carriage in snowsuits bundled up with blankets right next to me. And I stood there on Bedford Avenue watching the marathons run and offering them performance to stay hydrated. Now, you know, I wanted to do a good thing. But I didn't know that marathon runners don't stop because they're trying to get to a goal and they're not going to stop running. So they're not stopping for a cup of performance. I stood there for 3 hours, took breaks in between into the hallway to warm up, stayed with all the performance drinks and all the stuff. And I can tell you, when I came up to my house, I was crying. I felt deflated. I felt like I was a failure. But I'm not a giver-upper, and I was going to find another way. But this experience, sometimes God wants you to have a very uncomfortable experience to bring you to the right place. And this is what I teach. It doesn't matter what you do. You put it out there, and it's going to come around. And that's what happened. My husband's friend's wife called me that she heard we got a Shackley car. And I said, yes, we did. I want a Shackley car. I said, fantastic. We met, she signed up as a distributor, and we started to do events in her home. She did the first event, and as Sarah said, our door openers were skincare. So we did skincare and makeup at that time. I traveled to her home. She didn't live next door, so I was like 40-minute drive. Traveled to her home, 20 people came, and I did the skincare event. Now, 3 people got like a redness or reaction from our product. I don't know why. Nobody really ordered because it was like on the spot. It was quite like a negative environment because one lady that her face became red had some kind of affair that night and she was putting up a fuss. But in the corner, there was a woman with 2 children. It looked like she did not participate in the event with the skincare. It looked like she wasn't listening even to anything that I said about nutrition or anything. So after the close, after everybody started leaving, I tried to make conversation personally with people and see who I can find that is not upset, or then maybe I can save something from this event. And I asked this lady, what's your name? She said, my name is Malki. I said, oh, you were so busy with your 2 kids. And she said, yeah, but I heard everything. I said, so what do you think? She says, I would love to buy products, but I don't have money. I say, what if you hosted such an event and I gave you $100 worth of products free? She goes, I'm in. Schedule that event. Malki Tauber ended up being my first master coordinator way before I became a master coordinator. Why do I share this story? I share it because failure could be success as long as you don't give up. If it's the marathon people are running, or if you thought of an idea that really didn't work out, just keep going. Put it out there and keep going because the success will come. I always say, as long as you hang around, then the success can come to you. If you're not there anymore, then it won't be able to. So thank God in 2007, we were pinned as master coordinators. We had the opportunity. It was the perfect year. There was a rank advancement bonus then. We got $10,000 for becoming masters, which I hosted a stunning bar mitzvah for one of my boys. It was really upscale. Usually we don't spend so much money, but I had a check from Roger. And we had the privilege to have dinner in Roger's home. Why do I say this? Because Shifra is just a humble mother, housewife, no special schooling, but I have belief and passion in this in this business, in the product, in the company, and in the power of what women can accomplish. And this is really, really powerful. Now, I just want to share one more thing. The why changes. My why was to be home and raise my kids and contribute to the family income. But my why now is to be able to give it over to the next generation. These are some of my grandchildren, each of them drinking a Shaklee Life Shake. I'm so proud of this. I have the privilege to give this over to the next generation so they can live a healthier and better life. And hopefully they will continue to give this for generations to come. And hopefully somebody will want to take the business and go with it when they're ready. So this inspires me to wake up every day and do what I do. So regards on the Lefkowitz grandkids. Now, everything that happened in the past keeps repeating itself, but a little bit different. So because we were talking a lot about the past, I brought on a special guest to join us tonight. Leah Herzl is one of my best friends, my best business partner, somebody that I adore and I respect. And she is working hard to build her business to master coordinator. And she has grown tremendously in the past 2 years. And look how amazing it is. As long as we're in this business, we have an opportunity to benefit from activities that other people are doing. So Leah has a first level. Her name is Sarah Teague. She lives in Canada. Sarah had a friend from seminary, which means a college that she was together with overseas in Manchester. And through social media, they reconnected almost 15 years later. And her name is Devorah Cranes. You might have seen her being recognized by Shaklee. Devorah Cranes had an experience, had belief and passion in the product, and then trusted the business and built a business. Devorah is doing outstanding work, and she gave over that belief and passion to a very special woman that I'm going to have the opportunity now to introduce, and her name is Lala Misjedi. Lala lives in LA, and Devorah cared to share with her and to help her through her challenges, and then inspired her to give it further, to give this gift of Shaklee. Lala, it was recognized so many times as the top enrollers. Actually today, she was second place as the top enrollers for Prove It Challenge. Lala is a dedicated mother of 3 kids and a dedicated wife, and the most caring person I have met. She will give herself away for any of her customers, distributors, and I'm proud to introduce Lala Misjedi. Lala, could you unmute yourself?
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Lala.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction.
Lala is on Pacific time. It's really not the best time for her children, but she's doing it anyways because she cares. That's her heart. So
Wow.
Lala, tell them your story.
Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say thanks for joining us.
Hi,
I know
Sarah.
it wasn't easy for you.
It's all good.
I'm glad you did it.
Okay, so here's my story. Basically, Devorah Cranes, I had no idea who she was. She was somebody who sent me a message on Facebook, and she just kind of like was being nice to me. She asked me some questions. She said, I know you're into healthy food and organic food. Do you take any supplements? And I'm like, yeah, I take some stuff from Whole Foods. And she's like, did you know there's a difference between, supplements, like whatever. She said, like the same way you like organic food, you know, there's such thing as organic supplements. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. Anyway, she very kindly explained it to me, the Shaklee difference. And at that time I was so busy. Like, I was just like, I have to call you, like, can you call me later? Can you call me later? Like, I'm busy right now. Like probably 7 times she reached out to me. in a very non-pushy way, but I was kind of like, what does this girl do? Like, what does she want? Like, what is she trying to do here? Anyway, one day when I was having a really bad day, she was talking to me again, and I was like, maybe this girl could actually help me. So I said, these vitamins you talk about, you think I can use them to get off of the medication that I'm on? And I was on Adderall, which is an ADHD medication, which like I was taking because I had a really hard time focusing because I had 3 kids in 3 years and I was exhausted. And when you're not sleeping, it's hard to focus. And I just had no energy. And you know what I'm saying? So basically I was like, just, can you help me with your vitamins you keep telling me about? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, tell me what I need to buy. I'll buy. And I literally bought $1,000 worth of stuff from her. And she's like, she told me I should become a distributor. And she's like, you should offer it to your people that you're talking to about healthy eating. Because I was in nutrition school at that point. I was like, okay, fine. I was like, but I have to see if it works for me first, and then I'll start recommending them. Anyway, I got $1,000 worth of stuff, and I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. Sarah Rivka, who happened to be in LA when I got my box, came to my house. She showed me everything. She's like, and I had like a mental breakdown that day because like my kids were getting in trouble in school, and she's like, sit down, Lale. She gave me the B complex. She gave me the stress relief. She gave me the hydrate. She's like, take this right now. So it was funny because like both of them were really trying to help me. Devorah first was trying to help me, and then Sarah Rivka was trying to help me. And it was crazy because at that point, nobody was taking care of me. Nobody. I was not even taking care of myself. And finally, like 2 random people who I had no clue who they were, who I found on Facebook, were like taking care of me. So anyway, fast forward, I was able to get off my medications. And now I have like so much energy. It's like people like just are like, how do you have so much energy? Like, I don't understand, because everybody around me, the moms, are like exhausted. And I'm like, I used to be just like you. So the same way, so now I'm literally bringing people into the Shaklee business because they're exhausted and they're like, we want to do what you're doing and we want energy like you. And now that's basically my story. Oh, I can tell you a little more, I guess. Prove It Challenge is my jam, by the way. Prove It Challenge is my, I don't even really do anything other than Prove It Challenge. I do Prove It Challenge, Prove It Challenge, Prove It Challenge, focus on that. Once they're members, after the Prove It Challenge, I get reorders from them because I want them to continue feeling amazing. And I get recommendations, like they send me their friends, they send me their cousins, they send me their sisters, they send me everyone they know. And yeah, that's how I've been able to be successful in my Shaklee business. Did I tell you too much? I have a lot of energy.
No, that is amazing. That is amazing, Lala. So very powerful points. First of all, you were taking supplements and you were eating healthy. And once you switched to Shaklee, everything changed. So our products give results. And these are the results that your customers and distributors are seeing, right? And that's others.
And also what you said, Shifra, was so true. That what your upline sees in you, like that you don't even see in yourself, then all of a sudden you start to see it. That's really what Devorah did for me. And you too, Shifra. Like that's really, you guys were like, you're amazing. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I am. I guess I could be amazing. So that was also really helpful.
So if you just want to share with our listeners any tricks or tips on how to get in front of the people's people, like how do you get some of your Prove It Challenge to introduce you to their people?
Okay, so when anybody does the Prove It Challenge and they have good results, which is most people, I say, I'm on a mission to help Los Angeles and beyond, our community, get healthy and happy. So do you know anybody who could benefit from what you just went through? And of course they'll be like, oh yeah, I have my cousin, my this, my that, my that. I'll be like, okay. If you would tell them about your experience, and then if they're interested, you could put them in a 3-way text with me and introduce us, and then I could talk to them about it afterwards. So that the people, they trust me now because they're introducing me to them.
So you're using social media to reach out to people, but you talk to everybody separately before they do the prove it.
Yes. And oh yeah, I use social media, but I also use referrals. I use social media is amazing. I mean,
You don't put
I
anybody on the prove it challenge if you don't first talk to them, right?
wait, say that again. I don't what?
You usually
Oh
talk
no.
to them before, right?
Oh, I always. So when first of all, I find a way for everybody I talk to who has a problem. I see how could the prove it challenge help this person with that problem they just told me. So somebody will be like, I'm tired. What do you have for people who are tired? I'll be like, oh, I have a 30-day nutrition program that helps you have more energy. Or somebody will be like, I have bad skin. I have acne. And they'll be like, what do you have for acne? And I'll be like, actually, my 30-day nutrition program helps your skin clear up. If somebody tells me, what else can they tell me? Like,
I'm constipated.
Okay, I'm constipated. I'd be like, I'll ask them what they eat, and if they tell me, like, you know, if they're not eating a tons of fruits and vegetables, I'll be like, you know, sounds like you would benefit from changing what you're eating. I have a 30-day program that will help you change your eating habits. Any problem they have, even if they tell me they want to join the business, I'll say, that's amazing. So in order for you to do the Shackley business best, I recommend you do the Prove It Challenge so you can experience the products and get into healthy habits yourself so that you can help others do the same. Literally anything anyone tells me, my answer is Prove It Challenge. If they're like, oh, I don't want to change what I'm eating, it's too hard for me right now, I'll give them like certain products for them to use. But the best way is to start people off with the Prove It Challenge because they get the best results because they're changing what they're eating and they're taking the supplements. And they feel a sense of community that we're all doing something good together. And it really, I don't know, I find it's the best way to build the business.
Shifra and Lala, we're running out of time. We're at the hour, but I just want to turn this conversation to a different degree because Shifra, you were telling me, Lala, don't go away yet. Shifra, you were telling me, and when we were discussing this call, we were talking about, you know, whoever's on this call, some of you are earning $100 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month. Some of you are earning $2,000 a month. Some of you are earning $20,000 a month. It doesn't really matter. Wherever you are is good. We have to think about what did we do to get to this income and what we can do going forward. And what's basically happening is that if you see Goldie, if you listen to Goldie's story, my story, Shifra's story, basically we all did the same thing. And what Lala's doing, Lala's from the new generation. Lala is doing something that is relevant today, but at least on the same speed as Shifra, I, and Goldie build our business and everyone else out here, whoever's successful here. So Lala, really what happened, Shifra or Lala, whoever wants to address this, what happened in the last year in terms of where were you last year and where are you this year? And what happened in terms of doing the business? Why were you able to do that? And I know that Shifra was a great coach for that.
You want to talk, Shifra? Or I can talk if you want me to.
You say why you did. Why did you do
what did I do? What was I doing different? You know, it's crazy. Like, I think it was like 10 months ago or probably a couple months after conference last year. Something shifted in my brain. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, I was talking to one of the sales leaders at Shackley, and I was like, you know, I'm having a hard time. I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at, you know, people buying products from me, but I'm having a hard time like getting people on my team and like, you know. And he's like, are you? Because I'm very social media. I'm really good at social media and Instagram. So he's like, are you talking about social media? Are you talking about the business on social media? And I'm like, no, I'm just talking about the products. He's like, well, there you go. So as soon as I shifted this thing in my head of like, talk about the business. I'm successful at this business. I will talk about the business. Like now people reach out to me telling me they want to join my team. It's not even like I'm reaching out to people anymore. They are They want to be on my team. They don't even know what my team is really. So I have become like, well, what am I even answering? I'm it's that shift in my brain of like, oh, this is what it was. Instead of wasting my time, I mean, it's not wasting, but instead of wasting my time selling like one Vitaly, challenge. I'm finding people who want to help other people do the Prove It challenge, and those are my new distributors. Best thing. Like I just had a new distributor. She didn't do anything. I coached these people through the Prove It challenge. She made like $400, and that makes her want to do it more and more and find more and more people to do the Prove It challenge. So I think that shift in my brain of like, instead of saying selling this here and that there, find people who want to do the Prove It challenge, who need help with something, and then have them find other people who need help and help them and then go in depth.
That's terrific. And I know that Shifra's been very instrumental in helping you see that. So
yeah, for sure. Shifra, God bless you. I love it.
Absolutely. So with that said, to close out the call, I want everyone on this call to think, where are you up to now? Where are you? Imagine yourself, you're in a mall and you want to go somewhere. But before you can go there, you go to the map and you look and you say, I'm here. I'm pinpointing I'm here and I want to go there. How do I get there? So wherever you are, now if you heard from Goldie, she had her second chance, her second big time where she went on to build master. You heard Shifra when she had her breakthrough. You heard about me when I had my breakthrough. You heard about Lala when she had a breakthrough. Are you ready for your next breakthrough? Know where you want to go, and wherever you are, I just have a point that I want to beg everyone. Sometimes when we have made a goal, we have set a goal, we want to reach something, and we hadn't. We didn't get there for whatever reason it is. Good excuse, bad excuse, it doesn't count. We really, in order for us to be able to grow, we first have to be very happy where we are. And we have to know it's okay where we are. If you decided to become a master and you aren't a master, it's okay. Nobody's doing anything for you. Nothing's happening. Big deal. So you're not a master. You wanted to become an executive. You're not an executive yet. Okay, fine. You're not an executive yet. But know where you want to go and realize that it takes concentrated work for a while. And then it'll take off to wherever you want to go. I'm telling you, that's what happened to all of us. We got focused and we went there and we got there. So this is available for everyone. Like Goldie said, Shafley is a great business. All the opportunities are here. Now, if you have not reached the 20K yet, you can still, we have about, what was it? August, September, October, November, December, 5 months. Let's all do it. Let's get the conference with some real good energy, with some real good work that we have done. And I think we can all hit it off to a tremendous end of 2020. Even though 2020 wasn't so good until now, we can still make 2020 a tremendous hit. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to Rob Loomis for being the leader that he is and giving us the opportunity to get together once a month and to see each other and to share and to just be part of the OPA organization.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Good night.
Good night.